Big A, you are predicting a recession this year. Do you still feel that way, or do you think we have more time? I'll be honest with you. I have done so much soul searching and research on this exact subject. This is one of the main reasons I really spiraled on my predictions video this year. I spent so much time trying to understand it, but nobody has the answer on this. The thing is, the United States government during an election year is spending unprecedented amount of money. I mean, we're doing $1 trillion deficits every 100 days. It is incredibly stimulative, as you might call it. You know, it is a huge cocaine shot to the noggin. And so it is tough to say whether the, I think, larger forces that are deteriorating underneath this economy will hit while that is propping things up. I don't know. I have no idea. And from my understanding, and I've watched so much, I've listened to so much, and I've read so much, there's no answer. Nobody has the answer. No one's like, oh, you can just do the math and figure this out. It is all speculation. I am still of the opinion that we are on shaky ground. We are on shaky ground. The economy is on shaky ground. And I think anyone who's in the bottom, let's say 60% of the economy, even 80, I think even 80, but definitely 60, will tell you that they are feeling something. There is problems they're seeing in the job market, which is having fewer full-time, more part-time. Trying to buy a home, we're seeing it in try to lease a car, buy a car. We're seeing it in Airbnb bus. We're seeing it in so many aspects of the economy. We're seeing it in every corporation in the S&P 500 except for the top 7. The S&P 493 are all guiding down. We're seeing it in if the Russell 1000, Russell 2000, those are all terrible. We're seeing problems, but they're all sort of being held together, you know, by this incredible stimulative effort by the government. And so I have no idea when the exact shoe drops, and no one does. That being said, I probably would readjust the date that I was thinking. Oh, and I also should probably say, just to be 100% candid, there's something people don't talk about much because it's like a big win for America, but they don't want to talk about it because it's not pro-environment. And then the Republicans don't want to talk about it because it makes Biden seem better to their base. And the fact is, like in the past few years, America has become a true energy superpower, almost miraculously. America has gone from like 0 exports of natural gas to being the world #1 exporter of natural gas. And they have gone from being a net oil importer to a net oil exporter, largely because of the shale revolution. It is almost miraculous. It is incredible. We've added like a full Saudi Arabia of output of oil in America. I'm not kidding. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Becoming an energy superpower on that level is very beneficial to your economy, even if not to your environment. And that happening behind the scenes, I underestimated. Like if you really look into it, that has had an incredibly powerful effect, not only on the value of the dollar, because US's balance of trade has changed because we import less oil, but also because we have an incredibly low price of natural gas in America. You can get it so cheap. And that is very beneficial to manufacturing, as Germany would have told you back when they imported it from Russia really cheap and now can't because the Nord Stream blew up. And now they're sitting ducks with their dicks in their hands. By the way, not that I want to toot my own horn. While this did surprise me, I did see some of this coming with what I was reading. I swear to God, I'll post the timestamps, if not the money. I made a bet on a company called Viper. This is not financial advice. This company will probably go to zero, but I made a bet over a year ago on a company called Viper that owns a bunch of tracts of land in the Permian Basin, which is where a lot of the oil is done in Texas. And it is just, it's up 33% or something. I made an absolute killing. I checked my Charles Schwab and that's like one of my best. I'm just super stoked on it. Don't buy it now. I'm considering selling, bro. I'm just telling you that is like one of the best things I picked when I was doing like heavy reading back in February. Hey, Drake, girls. I get this question all the time and I have answered it all the time. So I don't know if there's this dark secret that I need to say. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of art. I mean, the main thing is the Financial Times. I read the FT every day. In the morning, I make myself read 3 full articles in the FT and then I'll quiz myself. But I feel like I have to do this if I want to be able to like bounce off people and really understand what I'm talking about. So I'll read at least 3 and then I'll quiz myself. Sometimes I'll use ChatGPT to quiz myself. And then when I answer those, I feel like I'm confident. Ever get the questions wrong? Of course, yeah. Then I have to study it. Then if I get a question that I feel like I can't answer, then I'll reread the article or look up more shit. How did you decide which articles to read? I used to pick things that were interesting to me. And then I realized that like I started picking articles that I don't care about. And then when I realized when I read enough about it, it became interesting to me. There's a lot of things in this world that I thought, I don't give a shit about. But if you start trying to understand them, it becomes more interesting. And then all of a sudden you realize there's more to it. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a process for me. I'll be honest with you. I truly think, obviously I think I'm dumb as shit all the time. But I think before a year ago, I was way dumber. I'll be honest with you. I think I read so much in the past year. I've like been more systemic about it. And I feel like I'm finally starting to connect the dots on a lot of things that I used to care about, but couldn't react back. I could only present, but not react back. I feel like I can react back now. H-Truck, I pulled out my retirement and lost it all in crypto in 2 days. Am I cooked? Bro, you're just making this up. You're making this up because you know why? It's because you're a Zoomer and you don't have a retirement. That's why I know you're making it up. Zoomers don't have retirement to pull out, dude. You have nothing saved. You won't have anything saved, dude. Don't try to pretend. You know what the average retirement savings is? Even for boomers, it's like 100 grand. It's not enough. They can't live off of it. Retirement's a crisis. But thankfully, my GOAT king, Elon Musk, will invent a Neuralink that allows me to keep working long past when my body decomposes. So I can keep that going. Do you understand? That's my GOAT. That's my king. Do you think there's any solution to the fact that Americans are so far behind in retirement? Like for real, we just can have 200 million silver-haired losers with no Bugatti allowed to sleep on the street? I don't know that America is more behind than a lot of other countries. We have less of a safety net maybe, but I think most countries are dealing with it. This is a problem globally. A lot of these problems are global, bro. If you're like, I'm speaking just to you right now. I know where you're from, okay? And where you're from, the young people feel like housing is a price out of reach. They feel like access to good jobs is diminishing, and where you're from, housing is just too expensive. They feel their politicians are a little too old and out of touch, and that they're not adapting to the changes of modern society. Technology is moving so quickly, and they haven't been able to regulate it. That's your location. And you must understand that applies to the whole world. People in China, people in Australia, Canada, America, every place, dude. We're dealing with the same problems. You know, there's different flavors of it all over, and there's different unique extremes and all of that. But globally, we're in like the late stages of a big debt cycle globally, and these problems are everywhere. Norway viewers laughing. I guess Norway is a little different. I hate the Nordics, dude. God, dude. They're so snooty. Actually, the problem is they're not even that snooty. It's so annoying. I wish they were snootier. They're so snooty by not being snooty. It pisses me off. They don't even have the decency to be assholes about it. Exactly. I just thank Christ above that their weather is bad. I thank Christ above that they live, compared to globally, fairly bad weather. They have some decent summers, I guess, but what do you think about buying the dip? Oh, can I tell you guys some story? I'll answer this question and then tell you a funny story about my friend Blur, okay? You said, what do you think about buying the dip on the yen in hopes of that will eventually stabilize? I think you are crazy. You are attempting to get involved in currency trading globally, something that like vastly better resourced and intelligent and, the highest end firms are trading. You are trading in an incredibly high risk area during an incredibly volatile time with no unique knowledge. You have no knowledge that your competitors don't have, and you're going to hopefully be right. You have to just bank it, I guess. I think that is ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. I think you will lose. Personally, I think there's a very good chance that the yen continues to slide as it has been sliding for the past 3 months. I think they might throw all their reserves at it to defend the yen. Japan might do that because they're scared of it getting weaker, but it's just trending weaker because there's a gap between the interest rates in America and the interest rates in Japan. And as long as that gap exists, people will borrow yen and buy dollars. And every time they do that, the yen gets weaker. They're going to keep doing that. That's what's happening. However, you could be right. We don't know. That's the randomness of it. You're making a bet that I think is a losing bet that may bink. The reason I bring this up is because Crimson Blur, my friend, told me to my face at dinner at the beginning of April that he has a guaranteed way to make money. Again, I want to preface this by saying I love Blur. I think he's actually a good dude in his heart. Now that I've heard him be dead honest on that card in Genesis, I understand that guy he's a man with heart. He has feelings in there. He is a person. However, his character that he plays is very blustery. And he told me guaranteed money, and he's not joking. He said, look, the Bitcoin halving is approaching, and the Bitcoin halving guaranteed will send Bitcoin to 100K. Every dollar you have, you just put it into Bitcoin because it will guarantee go to 100K. That's what he said. This is the beginning of April. He said that. And I said, Blur, listen, I have no idea what the Bitcoin halving will do to Bitcoin. Although he thought I didn't know what it was. I do know what it is. It's whenever they have these halvings where the amount of Bitcoin you get for mining is halved from that point on. permanently. I don't know. The first one was in 2016, and they had one in 2019, and then this one just happened. And so now if you mine a Bitcoin, you get half than what you used to get. And everyone in the Bitcoin community was like, this, because every previous halving has led to a spike in Bitcoin. I told him, listen, Blair, nobody knows whether that will actually happen. It's such a speculative investment. We don't know how it reacts to any piece of news, let alone this halving. And also, the way he was telling it to me was like, the halving means there'll be less supply, so the price will just double. But that's not what the halving means, because it's not halving the amount of Bitcoin. It is only halving the amount of new Bitcoin that get introduced when you mine something. The current amount of Bitcoin is staying the same. There's not less supply, there's just more new supply slowly. And so it's certainly not a guarantee that the price will go up. There's just no guarantee. And so this morning, I checked. Well, I got this article. Okay, this was the Discord convo. It's a combination of this story, Bitcoin halving 2024, not with a bang, but a whimper, and then 15% down on the month. And you know what? Tomorrow, this could go to the moon. Tomorrow, it's to keep sliding. We don't know. But to tell someone else that you have a guaranteed plan, that it's 100% certain, is absurd. It's absurd. It's just absurd. Anyone that tells you that is lying to you for the rest of your life. If there's one lesson I can put out there, is that if someone tells you they have a guaranteed thing to invest in, they are lying. I mean, I would trust it even less. Guarantee is such a fucking, unless you're trying to insider trade. Yeah, it could be illegal. It could be lying or it could be illegal.